What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video where we're going to talk all about companions and how they work, because they don't work how I thought they work. Now, I'm just going to interrupt the intro on this video just to kind of put a little bit of a statement out because of the title. Now, the reason I've made this video is all I've seen is people saying I'm turning these global modifiers off. The companion is absolutely horrible. But just to kind of pre-reference what you're going to hear in just a moment, if you do that, you are nerfing yourself. And there's a way you can run this season and get 30% extra weapon damage, 40% Hasbro, and 30% skill efficiency. These are huge buffs and you don't have to deal with the companion. Anyway, let's let the video roll. There's a whole set of hidden kind of bonuses in the menus that if you don't pay attention to, you can miss them quite easily. And they become very important when you are grouping up with other people. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. So I'm not going to talk about all the modifiers or any of this teamwork actions or anything like that. What I'm going to talk about is how these passive bonuses actually work. And they actually can be really, really powerful. And it really does depend how much effort you or your team have put into the seasonal modifier for who should be like the owner of the group, who should have the companion out, who shouldn't have the companion out, and things like that. So first of all, just to show you how they work. So if I deactivate the modifier now and go to my stats, the easiest one we can show you is at the moment I've got 10% Hasbro. If I go back in and I activate the modifiers and we take a very quick look here. So you can see here the engineer gives skill efficiency up to 15%. The medic gives Hasbro up to 20%. And the assault gives weapon damage up to 15%. So now you can see I've recruited 10 medics. I get 20% Hasbro. And we can see that here. Now, as he run off. Hello, sir. Please stand near me. So, change. We're going to put this one on. Okay, active modifier now, right? He stood right next to me. He's active. I should be getting 20% extra hazard protection, which I am. So all of a sudden now I'm getting 30%. The menus are pretty buggy. We've had this when we were testing. The values kind of flip-flopped around, but that's correct now. I'm getting the full 20% Hasbro. Now, if I change this, don't deactivate and just unequip it, but keep the global modifiers on, as you see here now, it says here that these bonuses are doubled when the player has no active companion. So it's a little bit annoying. You can't dismiss him, but you have to go in here and disable the active companion, but leave the global modifier on. And if you flip down to your stats, now you can see I've got the 40% bonus. I've got 50% Hasbro. Welcome back. Backfire builds. They're going to be all over the internet. Every content creator is going to end up doing one. That is my my guess this season for sure. They're going to be back. But then what is interesting as well is how does this then affect other people that join your group? Because if I get my companion out, I now get just the original bonus. So I'm back now to getting the 15%, the 20%, and the 15%. So when a person joins my group, so I'm going to ask Scurry to join me now. I wasn't sure if he was going to get the 15% because my companion is out, or the the half bonus, or is he going to get the double bonus because he's not using a companion. So what I can tell you, if I go into social, hopefully the menus update, but I can tell you what the impact is anyway. If I look at his stats, so as of right now, he's got 141229. He's running an all red Lexington build. And I can tell you now, he's getting 30% extra weapon damage bonus from being in my group. The Hasbro's not showing because the menus are scuffed. But I can tell you now, he's getting 30% extra bonus. So because he's not using a companion, I'm using the companion. I've got him out. He's getting the full double active passive buff, if that makes sense. If he then presses T in my group and takes over use of the companion, he'll drop down to just the original bonus. He'll drop down to the 15%, and I will go up to the double bonus. So I will go up to then the 30%, if that makes sense there as well. But there are some slight caveats to this. Whereas, as you can see, mine are maxed out and Scurry's are also maxed out. That's the bit that is very, very important. He gets the double bonus in my group when with me, and I've got the hold of the companion. If he's got them maxed out, it uses his passive stats. So if, say for instance, he'd only recruited one assault recruit, he would come in and he would get a double bonus of 3%, not the max that I've got. So it does work off his stats here, not off my stats. So I'm going to ask him to drop out, and I'm going to ask Dangoat to drop in. Now, Dangoat has only recruited 2 assault companions. So when he joins my team, he's only going to get a 3% buff, even though my passives show as maxed out. It uses his stats essentially. So we'll go into the social here. We'll look at Dango. We click X inspect and we look at his stats. So you can see here now he's got 129,549, which is significantly less than Scurry. He's running an all red Lexington build. If you remember, Scurry was at 141,229 because he was getting the maximum 30% bonus. Dangoat, that's getting 3% bonus exactly. Now, if he wasn't getting any bonus, or Scurry wasn't getting any bonus, so say somebody joins your team who have not done any of the season modifiers, they've not gone and done the very first recruitment mission, when they come in, if they've got an all red strikers Lexington build on, the damage stat that they will show is 126619. That is 0% bonus. So yeah, it's very important. So a few kind of takeaways and a few bits of summary from this, that when you join a group, it's obviously very important to think about, actually, should you be getting your companion out, even if you've got a max companion? Because when you join a group and the leader's got his companion out, you can then take advantage of having, you know, a companion out that somebody else is using, but you will take double buffs. You'll get 30% weapon damage, 40% Has-Pro, 15% skill efficiency. But the minute you press T to make it so that you control the companion, you're going to lose half of that damage, half of that Has-Pro, and half of that skill efficiency. So it's pretty, there's a lot to think about there. If you join a group leader who's not started the buffs at all and not done it, you know, you're not going to be able to use the modifiers at all. You're going to lose out a lot of damage. So there is some thought process into the whole companion thing on who should be using the companion when in a group, who shouldn't be, and things like that. But if you're noticing that your damage numbers are all over the place when you're joining groups and, you know, and all the rest of it and things like that, then that's why. If you seem more powerful when you're in a group and you're not using the companion, you're not the owner of the companion, it's because likely you're getting 30% extra weapon damage as part of you being in that group. So I thought that was useful. Hopefully that is useful information. I thought it was useful. I was going to test the beacon and we was like, hang on, why are damage numbers all over the place? But yeah, I hope it helps out. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think it kind of does make sense. You know, if you read it, you know, take it as it is. You know, these bonuses are doubled when the player has no active companion. So essentially in a group, only one person can have an active companion. The other 3 are getting double bonuses. But then bonuses are dependent on their own stats, not on the leaders. So even though the leader has control of the active modifier in the group and having them turned on, the leader does not have control over the passives. That is the player's own passive modifiers. All right, that's going to be it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.